been adjustment, but it's been fun.
You mentioned being comfortable on the set with them. Is it comfortable talking about the Saints now as somebody who's not on the team?
It's
I know they have you do it quite often.
It's a little bit weird to talk about the Saints, other than the fact that I still have so many great relationships with guys on the team. I know the schemes, both defensively, offensively. I know the way Sean Payton thinks. So I believe I can recognize certain things maybe different than a lot of people can, just having spent so many years here. But to be the one who, in a lot of cases, is the one commenting on the Saints, it's they try. Obviously, being up there, you need to be very kind of neutral and call like you see it and that kind of thing. But I mean, you all know exactly who my heart is. My heart is here in New Orleans with the Saints, and I'm rooting for them. I'm wanting them to win. I'm wanting them to be successful. So there's that balance. I'd say it's just like when I broadcast a Notre Dame game. I study the opponent leading up to both sides of the ball, leading up to the game, and then I'm trying to predict what's going to happen based on my film study and based on my knowledge of the teams. And then you talk about it accordingly. As I'm watching the Saints game, I can look at a formation, I can look at a motion or a shift, and I can think of, all right, well, I know we run 2 plays out of that, at least during my time, and so it's probably this or this. And in most cases, I'm right, and so I can somewhat predict what's going to happen. And then, when Jameis drops back to pass, I'll kind of recognize, okay, I think I know what this route is, and so I know where my eyes would be, right? I'd be reading it, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 or whatever it might be, the progression. So there's a little bit of that insider knowledge that comes in handy.
I know that. Is it almost unfair that people are comparing Jameis to you in your prime versus 5 games with Sean?
It's things take time, and just like if you want to go back to 2006 and our early years here, I mean, there were so many things that we were all going through together, right? I'd say the offense here now is well established. I'd say we've certainly come a long way and evolved quite a bit. I mean, we were very simplistic back in 2006 compared to where we are now and what is put on the quarterback position now as opposed to then. So I'd even say from that perspective, it's harder. It's harder to play the quarterback position now for the Saints than it was 15 years ago. So that's been an evolution, and there's so many things that go into that. But at the end of the day, it's quarterback and head coach, play caller, being very much on the same page, having a comfort level and almost a point where it's an ESP, like you can predict what's going to be called and why. And I'm sure that there's still a part of Sean Payton that's getting used to how Jameis plays and kind of how he processes, and the same for Jameis with how Sean Payton calls a game, right, and the things that he likes. And when you feel him starting to get aggressive, or when you feel that, hey, he's calling this play for this reason, and I need to recognize that just takes time. And now that I've got this NBC gig, it's a lot of travel, a lot of time on planes, so I do need to find more of a routine with whatever my new workout regimen is going to be. I know what my football workout regimen is going to be. I'm still discovering what
Is it a relief?
Off-season workout regimen.
Is it a relief or do you miss it?
What's that?
Is it a relief or do you miss it?
Of course I miss it. I miss elements of it. I miss being in the locker room. I miss the preparation during the week. I mean, even the grind. It's difficult, it's stressful, and yet at the same time, you're working towards something. Working towards being ready for that game, and the feeling you get when you step on the field and you know that you're prepared to go out and dominate the opponent. It's a great feeling.
I actually meant working out. Do you miss it? Are you relieved?
Am I
relieved that you don't have to do it?
No, I like working out. I like working out. That's how I get my blood flowing. That's where, honestly, I get my best ideas when I'm working out. You just get
that is really true.
Endorphins rolling, and it's funny because I can't stand to have obviously my phone with me or anything else when I'm working out. I just want to focus on working out, whatever it is I'm training at. But I get these ideas, I need to find a way to write them down. So that's my challenge right now. I'll run over and jot something down on a piece of paper and go back and do another set. And I kind of keep all my little notes that I can always reference back to.
Why this business to partner with and put your name with, and then maybe just about 2 locations that you want to
Yeah, so stretch zone is a franchise concept that is practitioner-led stretching, and stretching has always been a big part of my, I'd say, training and recovery routine as I was a player. And even as I transitioned to no longer being a player, this is still as important a part of my training as anything. Because I think something that we all recognize that you lose, especially with the aging process, is mobility and range of motion. And so whatever it is you're training for is something that I've found through stretch zone that you can make strides towards. So if you want better range of motion for your golf game, or for your tennis game, or for whatever you might be training or trying to recover for from a rehabilitation perspective, from a physical therapy perspective, there's so many benefits to it. At the end of the day, you get to lay on the table for 30 minutes or for an hour and get stretched, and you get up and you haven't done any work, and yet you get all the benefits.
Is there any chance at any point that you'd ever reconsider?
I would ever reconsider come back and play professional football? No.
No.
When I made that decision, that wasn't just a spur of the moment decision. The decision to retire was at least a few years in the making. Just understanding that time was coming, and each and every offseason evaluating where I was, what I felt like I still wanted to accomplish. There's so many factors going into a family, but that 20-year mark was always one that was that benchmark. You set these benchmarks throughout your career, but once I got to age, call it 35, 37, it became, all right, let's get to year 20, and that should be it. Especially knowing where my kids were going to be. My oldest Balin is now in middle school, and there's so many things I want to be a part of with my kids that obviously during the football season you just can't be a part of, because commitment is to your team and being the quarterback and being a leader. So yeah, I would say I'm content with spending as much time as I can with my family right now. Listen, every week in the NFL is a battle. But I'd say this: you typically look at a team and say, what are the teams that can travel and win? Teams that play great defense and teams that can run the ball. And I know we're playing great defense right now, and we have had some guys injured as well, right? So you think about being able to get healthy coming off the bye week, being at full strength, and then offensively just continuing to find that identity. I think there's a ton of upside to be successful. Listen, it's tough. It's tough to see. It's tough to see any guy that I have a strong relationship with take a hit like that. So I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna go check on him. He's one of my great friends, and I want him to be okay.
Do you have any questions? Do you have any